The media is still going full throttle on being extremely hawkish on Afghanistan and attacking Biden in the most belligerent ways imaginable. So here's a video of exactly that. Look at this question that was screamed at Joe Biden when he was leaving after a press conference.
Demise of the Afghan National Force, which was 300 persons. Let's assume the Afghan National Force had continued to fight and they were surrounding Kabul. Be a very different story. Very different story. But the overwhelming consensus was that they were not going to collapse. The Afghan forces, they were not going to leave. They were not going to just abandon and then put down their arms and take off. So that's what happened. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Why do you continue to trust the Taliban, Mr. President? Why do you continue to trust their pledges, Mr. President?
One more question, Mr. President, please.
Why do you continue to trust the Taliban, Mr. President? Why do you continue to trust the Taliban, Mr. President? That's what they just asked him. Now, let me ask you a question. When Ronald Reagan was actually supporting the Mujahideen on the ground with money and weapons, did anybody ever ask him that? Hey, why are you supporting the Mujahideen? Why are you supporting what became the Taliban and Al-Qaeda later on? Why are you doing that? Did anybody ask that of Barack Obama when we were supporting jihadists on the ground in Syria, when he was giving them money and weapons? Did anybody say that? Does anybody say that in regards to Saudi Arabia? Hey, why is the U.S. government backing these Islamic extremists, these Wahhabi fundamentalists, these Salafist fundamentalists? Nobody asked that. Nobody asked Trump when under the Trump administration we were backing the Taliban because the Taliban was fighting ISIS. Nobody ever asked Trump, hey, why do you trust the Taliban? The only time they ask a president, why do you trust the Taliban, is when we're withdrawing and getting out of the country. But when we're giving arms and money to radical Islamic organizations, they don't have anything to say about it. You want to know why? Because the media is pro-war. The media is an arm of the military-industrial complex, as they've made crystal clear over the past few weeks. There's no doubt about it. The CIA and the NSA and all of the intelligence agencies and the Pentagon, they have sources in the media, and they just use them as their stenographers. So when the war machine wants the war to continue, they have their little puppet lackeys in the media go out there and make the case for war and ask smear merchant questions for the one good thing a president has done in my entire fucking lifetime. Why do you trust the Taliban, Mr. President? By the way, do you know what they're tangentially referring to there? The U.S. has been in contact with the Taliban, and we've negotiated, effectively, a ceasefire for us to get the rest of our people out of Afghanistan. The question the media had about that is, why do you trust the Taliban, Mr. President? What's the alternative? What do you want to do, tough guy? You want to go in there like Rambo and start shooting in every single direction and then make it much more likely that Americans die on the way out when they're trying to take them out? What do you want to do? You want to not make a deal? You want to not have a ceasefire? You want to have a total wild, wild west situation and try to have Americans sprint to the airport and get out on luck alone? Is that what you want to do? Because that's the kind of question that you're asking there. That's what you're implying you're in favor of. You don't want a ceasefire and you don't want negotiations. But you need a ceasefire and you need negotiations in order to get our people out of there. Why do you continue to trust the Taliban, Mr. President? Jesus Christ, man. They are the worst. So now, let me get to this, because Biden recognizes this. Look at this from Huffington Post. This is really something here. Biden and allies frustrated with media's hawkish coverage of Afghanistan withdrawal. After years of ignoring Afghanistan, many close to the Biden White House and the president himself feel some major outlets are adopting a pro-war stance. You don't say. You don't say. So now, Joe Biden is realizing this. And again, I don't know why Biden's doing the right thing on this. Frankly, I don't care. One theory is that he's trying to one-up Obama because the elites in the Obama administration did sort of look down their noses at Joe Biden because he's, he was viewed as like regular Joe Schmo, unsophisticated Joe. Maybe that's the reason. I think it might also have something to do with the fact that right when he got to Washington, Vietnam was coming to an end, and he saw what happened firsthand, how the generals always will say, oh, we need more time and we need more money. And when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So they go, all they know is war. So they think the answer is more war. So I don't know why he's doing the right thing, but he is doing the right thing. And even he's astonished at just how terrible the media is. This is a media that gave him basically a full pass for doing the crime bill, the bankruptcy bill, the Iraq war, the Patriot Act, all of the deeply pro-establishment, terrible policies that obliterated the working class in this country and outsourced jobs and led to giant wars, so much death and destruction. Those things he got to pass. He does one good thing. Now the knives are out for him. So again, we oftentimes talk about media bias on this show. I mean, there was the biggest bias was right in front of our nose, and we didn't realize it until right this second. But whether it's liberal media, MSNBC and CNN, or conservative media like Fox News, they're all across the board massively pro-war. They're so pro-war that even former war hawk Joe Biden is like, God damn, you guys are massively pro-war. What are you doing? And by the way, when all you hear is this stuff, now what happens? Now Joe Biden and his staffers are much more likely to say, no, definitely whatever you do, do not pull out of Iraq next. Don't do it. This has real-world consequences, guys. Real-world consequences. Because all he hears is outcry and outrage over him doing the right thing. So now he's much less likely to do the right thing on Iraq or the right thing on Somalia or the right thing in any of the 8 different countries that we're currently bombing. So that's why I've said everybody needs to be really loud and really aggressive and really on the record and saying, you are correct, Joe Biden. You are right. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to the corrupt mainstream media with their pro-war bias. Don't listen to the idiots with Washington, D.C. brain rot. You did the right thing. So do the same thing in Iraq next. I was joking around on Twitter when I said it, but I semi-mean it. If he actually follows through and pulls out of Iraq next, I'm offering my services as White House press secretary. I will stand there and take questions for 2 or 3 hours in defense of Joe Biden and straight up drax them sclounced, son. You want to ask a dumb question like that to me when I'm the press spokesperson? Please, by all means, go right ahead. Ask the question. Why do you continue to trust the Taliban? And, that's such a dumb question. It almost has to be on purpose, right? Like, they know as they're asking it, I'm going to do a smear question now. They have to know that. Because, again, what did I tell you? How many ways has the U.S. government supported radical Islamic extremists? In so many ways they have. Whether it's the Mujahideen, whether it's, the Sunni militias on the ground in Syria, Al-Qaeda on the ground in Yemen, Saudi Arabia. We've given money and weapons to all these extremists, and no U.S. president has ever gotten that question. The one time a U.S. president does the right thing on war and pulls out, now all of a sudden it's, why do you trust the Taliban? I told you guys that I'm at the point now where I genuinely think I now hate the media more than I even hate our politicians. I didn't think that was possible, but that's where I am. I actually think the media maybe is a force for more wrong and bad than the politicians. Because, and this is just one example with this war fervor, but we've seen it. Look at the 2008 crash, subprime mortgage crisis and Great Recession. None of the so-called experts on Fox Business or CNBC saw it coming. None of them. The only one that said anything like, hey, a crash is coming, is a libertarian by the name of Peter Schiff, and they laughed him out of the room when he said it. So you have business channels, and none of the business channels saw the imminent recession and market crash coming because you're not experts. You're propagandists. You're corrupt hacks. That's what you are. And it's even more clear now when it comes to the issue of war. So I'm telling you, man, I genuinely feel bad for Joe on this. I genuinely do. Because he's getting it from the entire establishment media. And then you have some people on the left who just argue from a narrative. And since Joe Biden has been terrible on a number of things, they can't let go of the narrative that Joe Biden equals bad. So they can't just tell the truth and say, he's right on this. That's the end of the conversation on this. They can't do it. So where are his allies? Who's backing him up when he does the right thing? His allies are nowhere to be found. Nowhere. Every now and then one of the House progressives will be like, thank you, sir, for saying endless war is bad, but it's super rare. And so, don't be surprised when good things don't happen in the future. If when you do good things, all you hear is outrage nonstop from mainstream media, and your allies is hiding in the corner like cowards. And that's what they are. They're cowards. So why do you support the Taliban, Mr. President? Why do you support endless war, you partisan hack in the media? And it's not even a partisan hack. It's just a pro-war hack, pro-deep state hack, pro-military industrial complex hack. That's what it is. if you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.